Now, guys, we've received bulk crafting in Animal Crossing, finally. But I'd like to make a couple different changes and I want this also to be available from the start of this new game. Guys, it didn't make any sense that this was not available, but Nintendo did the work. Apparently there was a lot going on within the internal systems that allowed them not to stack certain items or craft certain items in bulk. And so they've actually gone in and changed how that works. So they've done a lot of heavy work underneath everything. So now that we have this 3.0 update, it's going to be very easy to make these things and these processes available from the very beginning of the next Animal Crossing game. So I'm very hopeful that bulk crafting, if crafting is a big part of the next Animal Crossing game, which I believe that it will be available from the very start instead of 6 years later. What the heck, Nintendo? This is crazy. So anyway, this is the changes that I would like to make to crafting to the game. A lot of items that were not previously stackable will be stacked to 99. Items you can craft will have a heavier focus on functionality for small town life, and as I alluded to earlier that I would talk about later, which is now, I would like villagers to be able to interact with items a lot more. Like, say a villager walks past a dumbbell and they end up picking up the dumbbell and start interacting with it, or they walk up to a water bottle item and they start drinking the water bottle. So I think that'd be cool to have more interactability when it comes to villagers walking around the town in this next game. But similar to how public works projects works in Animal Crossing New Leaf, a lot of these crafting recipes will be focused on things for your town, like benches, landmarks, windmills, signposts, or even some recipes that villagers will give you to help fulfill their dreams. For an example, a football/soccer net for a sporty aspiration, or maybe even a display case for that super fan aspiration villager in your town. So crafting recipes will now only be accessible in a new way, and that is going to be through shooting down balloons with your slingshot. So this is a brand new way that you're going to receive crafting recipes exclusively, except for your villagers. Every once in a while, they might give you one, depending on their aspiration. However, this is going to be the main way to do it. This was available in New Horizons as one way to do it, but this is actually going to be the major way that you get crafting supplies, and I'm rather crafting recipes in this game. Now, here is why we're doing it this way. Here's why we're making this change. So I would like each crafting category to correspond with a color. And these colors will also coordinate with the balloon color that will be floating in the sky. So I know a lot of people in New Horizons was saying, hey, if you shoot down the yellow balloon, it's gonna get you coins or bells. And if you shoot down the red ones, it's gonna be crafting recipes more increased. Well, we've actually changed that. So it's actually going to correspond with a specific recipe from a specific series of crafting recipes in the game. So I'm going to walk you through this list together. Here's just some examples. I'll not read all of them. You can read them along with me, but we have the red category of red balloons is going to correspond to the category of basic items. These are going to be some of your just basic things you need for around town, maybe a simple bench, a fence, and tools as well. Let's skip down to, I have different seasonal series, so for different seasons of the year. So I have autumn and springtime as, you know, orange and pink respectively. But then we also have some other series, like the brown balloons will be the wood series. So you're going to have a brand new all wood type series, and there's going to be a lot of wood types in this game, more than has ever been in the game before. And then we also have a series for the ores. We have an aquatic series. That's going to be the aqua colored balloons. And then skipping down to the end, we have black, which is going to be the nighttime series. This is going to be things that enhance your game and the night. So maybe like a telescope item or some glowing items. That'd be cool. And then gold balloons will be golden tool recipe. So this will be how you get that golden fishing rod to catch those giant sea creatures, or how you get eventually the golden slingshot, and how you can shoot 3 bullets at a time. Now, speaking of tools, this is how I'd like to close with just a quick run through of some of the new tools that I would like to bring to this game. You know, the typical shovel, fishing pole, bug net, axe, slingshot, watering can, the timer, and we're getting the megaphone in 3.0, and then New Horizons added the ladder and the vaulting pole as all default items to the game. However, I'd like to add 3 or 4 new items to the game, and I'll just share a couple with you today. The first item that we talked about extensively, very extensively in the last video, is the shears item. Now, the shears is basically, in a nutshell, going to be how you can shear flower stems. Instead of picking up flower stems by default, you're going to be actually be able to pick up whole flower, flowers, just like you could in all the games up until New Horizons. I didn't like that change, so we're reverting back, and it's going to be through the shears. Shears are also how you're going to be able to shear individual fruits off of trees, so you can have trees with 2 fruits on them aesthetically for your builds. And you can also shear bushes as well, so that's how you get fruit and flowers off of bushes now. And then finally, in a major turn of events, shears is going to be how you make the hybrid fruits in the game. So shears is going to be very important to this new game. I'd also like to add a pickaxe. Again, Minecraft reference, big time, but it's in a lot of other games like Stardew Valley too, so it's not explicitly Minecraft. But if we're going to be adding mysterious caves and stalactites or stalagmites, then we're going to need something that's heavy duty, not just a random axe that's supposed to be meant for trees. We need to add a pickaxe to the game. This is how you're going to be able to mainly mine those ores that we talked about earlier in the video as a collectible, and this will increase your chance from getting those ores, because you can't, it's these rocks and these stalactites and mites, they're not going to be able to be broken by anything else but a pickaxe. So I think it's going to be important if you want those anyway. And then finally, a brand new item. Now, this is important because I recognize that some of you, when you think of the term big city, it's going to change Animal Crossing altogether. And you don't want that change. You want that small town Animal Crossing experience that you've been used to in past games. And so I totally understand that, and I see you, and I know there would be people who would play this conceptualized game with not wanting to go to the city at all. That's fine. You don't have to. It's just a lot of stuff is going to be accessible through that, but we're also making other ways in the small town to do this. So for example, this new item that I would add to the game is the fossil brush. Now, I have taken this somewhat as an inspiration from Animal Crossing population growing. You had to send your fossils away in letters because the museum really wasn't a thing in that original game of Dobutsu no Mori. And so later on, they added the museum as a thing in the North American version. But I think that it'd be really cool that in this game, instead of going to the big city, which, spoiler alert, the museum will only be available in the big city in this game, you can actually assess your fossils right from your town by a fossil brush. So if you are lucky enough to get this item, I don't know how you will obtain it, but however you obtain this item, you'll be able to assess your own fossils instead and be able to sell them to the Nook shop for profit, or trade them to, your villagers if you want to. So it's just another way that we are accommodating for those who don't want to go to the big city to be able to still access all the important things. It wouldn't make sense to have fossils but no way to assess them without Wi-Fi or going to the big city with the way that you do. So that's how we've made allowance for that to happen. And that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I hope that you found this episode very interesting when it comes to some brand new things. This has been the Nintendident So We Did podcast. If you're interested in learning more about Animal Crossing Small Town Big City, check out this podcast here on YouTube, on Spotify, or on Apple Podcasts for more.